What is going on, guys? It is Wrestlelamia here, back with some more news. Join us now as we look at the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know, including, is it happening tonight? Did WWE block Nakamura from a New Japan Pro Wrestling show? Jade Cargill injures another wrestler? A fan violently thrown out of a wrestling event? A WWE legend warns The Rock? Is SmackDown's format changing again? Randy Orton having a retirement tour and much more. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Now let's do the intro and get straight into our first story. Now, first story looks at whether it's happening tonight. Now, our top story today looks ahead to tonight's Raw as WWE is seemingly teasing a huge return. Tonight's Raw marks the 1-year anniversary of the show debuting on Netflix, and there are numerous title matches booked for the show. There are also endless returns rumored, and perhaps none bigger than the alleged return of Chris Jericho. Jericho is heavily rumored to return live on Raw tonight, and after a social media post from Raw general manager Adam Pearce, this speculation is only increased. Whilst previewing the show, Pearce asked who can break down the walls. This, of course, is a direct reference to Jericho's iconic theme. Now, as things stand, there are no concrete reports on whether Jericho is actually returning tonight. However, due to the buzz surrounding the return, it's possible that WWE will keep it top secret. WWE mastered surprise returns last year, as returns from the likes of Brock Lesnar managed to avoid getting leaked out. Other speculation is that Jericho will make his presence felt during or after the CM Punk vs Bron Breakker matchup. Jericho has established history with Punk, and reinserting Jericho straight into the main event scene makes a lot of sense. Jericho is also heavily rumored for the Royal Rumble in Saudi Arabia, and we can also expect Jericho to have a featured matchup at Wrestlemania this coming April. Next up, WWE blocked Nakamura from a New Japan Pro Wrestling show. WWE is facing substantial criticism after fans have alleged that WWE blocked Shinsuke Nakamura from making an appearance at Wrestle Kingdom 20. Wrestle Kingdom 20 saw Hiroshi Tanahashi compete in the final match of his legendary career. A lot of fans were hoping that Nakamura would be able to make a special appearance. Speaking on the Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer discussed the situation, and he alleged that politics is the big reason why Nakamura wasn't allowed to appear. But Nakamura should have been allowed to be there. I don't know what the reasons was that Nakamura couldn't be there. The presumption was that WWE would not allow him. AEW let Billy Gunn do the WWE Hall of Fame, they let Jericho do the John Cena tribute thing, and they let Danielson do the John Cena tribute thing. WWE could have let him do the show. Nakamura himself has now commented on the controversy, and according to Nakamura during an interview with Tokyo Sports, he did everything he could to make it happen. I believe I did everything I could, but that it didn't happen. Well, maybe it was because I had other missions to fulfill. That's the only way to see it. In its own way, it's dramatic, I suppose. Now, this is extremely petty on WWE's part. We should be moving away from this kind of politics in wrestling, especially in 2026. Next up, Jade Cargill injures another wrestler. Was another day, another confirmed WWE injury. The latest WWE name to be taken out of action is SmackDown star B-Fab, as Fightful Select is reporting that she suffered an injury on the holiday tour. The injury bug is going around. Fightful Select Sean Rossap has learned that WWE feared that B-Fab sustained an injury on the WWE holiday tour. B-Fab wrestled Jade Cargill on the January 1st event in Syracuse and was not at SmackDown the following night. A report adds that B-Fab replaced the injured Michin on the tour, and now both parties are injured. B-Fab had replaced Michin on the tour, who was injured earlier in the week. A concussion was the feared injury and why she was pulled from the tour. Whether she actually sustained one or WWE were being cautious isn't clear. We wish her a speedy recovery. Now, in a further update, PW Insider is now reporting that B-Fab could be concussed and will be replaced by Bayley on the live event circuit moving forward. This is actually a major blow for the SmackDown women's roster, as they aren't exactly swamped with an endless array of talent. There is without a doubt an injury bug circulating in WWE, and the lack of live events is perhaps a key factor. In the TKO era of WWE, live events are now extremely rare, so wrestlers are only wrestling on average around 50 times a year. Compare this to the schedule wrestlers had around a decade ago, and wrestlers could be working up to 200 dates a year. When wrestlers are competing on a regular basis, their bodies become accustomed to the nature of the wrestling business, but when they are wrestling sporadically, this can ultimately increase the risk of injury. This is something that WWE and TKO needs to look at, as the sheer number of injuries at the start of 2026 is insane. So far, Dominic Mysterio, Michin, and B-Fab are injuries that have occurred just in the first week of 2026. Next up, a fan is violently thrown out of a wrestling event. Now, at a recent ACW Rumble independent wrestling show, a fan was violently removed from the event after crossing a clear boundary between spectator and participant. During the show, one fan leaned over the barricade and struck a wrestler with a scepter-like object, and since he was dressed like the Macho Man, it was part of the getup. Security then reacted swiftly and forcefully rushed the fan, ejecting him from the venue. A video appeared online showing the exact moment this happened. Obviously, it's never a good idea to physically assault a wrestler, no matter what they do at ringside. You are there to watch the performer, not become a performer yourself. Next up, WWE Thriving. Whilst 2025 wasn't the best year of WWE from a creative aspect, they've come into 2026 swinging with their recent live event tour being incredibly successful. According to Fightful Select, the tour was so successful that numerous cities ended up breaking records. WWE does far less house shows these days, with the annual holiday tour being an exception. This round was a rarity, with WWE not going to MSG for December 26th. However, there were a couple of other shows that specifically performed well. Sean Rossap of Fightful Select has learned that both the Baltimore and Worcester live events were hugely successful, with them ending up being the highest grossing house shows in the respective cities' history. And there are numerous reasons why the live event circuit is so hot for them. Due to them being sporadic, they are treated as special, so fans are more likely to want to attend. Additionally, the increase in ticket prices means that WWE are going to shatter records, even when on occasion less fans are in attendance. Another key factor is that the roster is still exceptionally over with the general audience. WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, as he always does, main events the majority of the live events, and this has been a recipe for success for WWE since his 2022 return. Next up, a WWE legend warns The Rock. Now, The Rock has hinted at his political aspirations time and time again over the years, but now the TKO board member has been warned to stay away. While appearing on Going Ringside, fellow WWE legend Kane urged the final boss to stay away due to the political climate. If I were him, I wouldn't. Politics is incredibly contentious and toxic right now. Everybody likes Dwayne, no matter where you are in a political spectrum, because he's a great entertainer and just a good guy. Gotta remember, no matter what you say in politics, 50% of the people are going to knee-jerk disagree with you, and you're gonna really tick some folks off. I've had to deal with that, obviously. If I were him, I would advise him not to do that personally. This is actually sensible advice from Kane, and that's probably the best that The Rock sticks to his other commitments, at least for now. Next up, the SmackDown format changing again? The 3-hour SmackDown format surprisingly worked well on last week's show. The pacing was considerably better and talent across the board were presented a lot better. However, it's been reported that the 3-hour format isn't here to stay, as this is what Bryan Alvarez had to say on the Bryan and Vinny show. This was the first 3-hour SmackDown and they had a comment on the show, and I didn't write it down, but the way they said it made me think that this is an annual temporary thing. Last year, of course, SmackDown was 3 hours for about the first half of the year, and then it went back to 2 hours. Alvarez added that by the summer, the show could revert back to 2 hours. I was told when the announcement was made that they were going to go back to 3 hours in January, that it probably was going to be the same thing this year, where it would be a 3-hour show for the first half or whatever. This may be a factor in why the SmackDown product is so inconsistent in terms of quality. Scripting and producing a 3-hour show and then having the extra hour pulled away from you can be difficult, and it's hardly a surprise why the show feels off balance when presented as a 2-hour broadcast. Unlike last year, WWE's made the conscious effort to call up talent from NXT, including Trick Williams and Jordan Grace. Whilst this is great to see, there is concern that once WWE reverts back to the 2-hour format in a few months, these names are going to be pushed aside. Hopefully this doesn't happen, but Raw has hit its sweet spot with the 2.5-hour format on Netflix, and it'll be a sensible call for WWE to potentially meet their respective network in the middle. And finally, Randy Orton to have a retirement tour? Now, final story today looks at recent comments from WWE Hall of Famer Eric Bischoff, as he's urged WWE to give Randy Orton a retirement tour. Whilst John Cena's retirement run was a mixed bag, Cena was presented as the biggest star in the world throughout 2025, and there are calls from fans for other legendary names to be given similar treatment. According to Bischoff on his podcast, one of the names who should receive a special retirement run is Randy Orton. For me, the one retirement tour that I want to see is Randy Orton. I think so much of Randy as a performer. He's such an unbelievable performer that I'd like to see him get the send-off he absolutely deserves. The fans have been extremely positive when it comes to this idea, as Orton is one of the most beloved and popular names in WWE. Orton has been with WWE for almost 25 years now, and it's going to be a major shock when he calls it a day in the ring. Thankfully, this day isn't in the near future, as Orton admitted that he has years left in the ring, and thanks to his somewhat limited schedule, Orton can rest his body and heal much quicker than he could when he was working 250 days a year. Orton's booking has received some criticism over the past few years, and Triple H has even been accused of having a personal dislike of the wrestling legend. There is no substantial evidence to back up these claims, however it's not hard to disagree with the fact that Orton has been mishandled when it comes to his WWE creative since his 2023 return. It does look like Orton's booking is slowly turning around, as he has once again set his sights on Cody Rhodes and the WWE title. This should hopefully lead to a featured rivalry between the two friends. But there you have it folks, the wildest news stories and rumors you need to know. Be sure to leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time with some more wrestling content.